Hello, hello. How is everyone doing today? I'm curious, first of all, where you guys are at in the fusion. Right now, I have about 200 fragments for Kafru, the Death Keeper. I'm just waiting to pull this guy until we have the Champion Chase actually active in the game as well, because you'll get some points for that. And then I do have enough save to actually pull myself a Broadmaw as well. And then, of course, I do have a legendary waiting here to pull too. So if I'm lucky, I might not even have to summon at all with, the shards that I have. So I might be able to complete the champion chase without doing that, which would be pretty awesome. I'll save those shards for the next fusion. How is the fusion going for all you guys, though? I definitely thought it would be a little bit harder. The point requirements for some of the stuff here is a little bit lower than I thought it would be. That being said, though, we are facing a lot of artifact enhancement events, which, as you can see here, I have completed. It does take a lot of silver to do it, though, so I was at about 15 million silver yesterday before I started my gear cleanse and then, upgrading. And that is including, I was forging quite a bit as well. So even with forging, I'm still down to about 4 million silver. For anyone who might know, Spider's Den is actually going to be the best place in the game to farm silver. And kind of in celebration of that, I wanted to bring you guys a speed farm team for Dragonhard 10 that is easily attainable by any free-to-play player. This is going to be the team here. So these are the 5 champions. The only one that cannot be replaced by a different champion is a Kemptum. So if you have a Kemptum, you are good to go on this particular comp. I know a lot of people have him. You could possibly make it happen with some other Hex champions. I very much doubt it, though. What makes a Kemptum so special? A1 is a 3-hit on the target. Each hit 50% chance of placing a poison. If they're under a hex, each hit also has a 50% chance of applying a debuff spread effect, taking one random debuff from the target and placing it on all enemies. A2 attacks all enemies 3 times. Each hit has a 75% chance of increasing the duration of any hex. And if they're not under a hex, each hit has a 75% chance of placing it instead. His passive, this is where things get spicy, has a 100% chance of inflicting damage from 1 poison debuff to enemies under a hex debuff whenever their allies receive damage from poison debuffs. This is absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. Now, I do have him 5-star awakened. You don't need that. I just have him in the blood shield here, and then I have him with emergency heal so that obviously, when the shield pops off, he gets healed a little bit. This is a huge passive, though. So what this is doing is if you have those speed teams with poisons, you don't even necessarily need somebody to blow up the poisons. You can essentially just use him whenever the enemy takes a team. They're going to tick the poison damage, but then he's also going to duplicate that poison damage onto every other enemy on the enemy team. Well, they're obviously on the enemy team, but every enemy under Hex. So it is absolutely insane. This also counts as a hit, so you can apply set status effects with this. So if you have stun on there, if you have the daze set, if you have provoke, if you have toxic set to apply more poisons, you can apply that with this passive as well, which is absolutely incredible. And then he has an ally speed in all battles by 18%. This is going to be the gear for him here. 52k HP, 3400 defense, 248 speed, and 410 accuracy. You can probably play around with the accuracy a little bit, especially if you're using somebody in an accuracy aura. The speeds, I would say, are pretty tight. There's a little bit of RNG with it, but as you can see, the gear I have on him definitely isn't too crazy. His banner isn't even fully upgraded here. Masteries, this is what we're rocking. Coming down here to War Master, I decided to go with War Master as opposed to Giant Slayer just because, I guess, in hindsight, Giant Slayer probably would be better considering that all of his skills are triple hitters. Excuse me. So he's the only irreplaceable champion. The other options, so we have Mithrala Lifebane. She is perfect because she's bringing an increased attack as well as a hex and an increased defense for some survivability. She can cleanse the poisons from you, placing a shield and a buff, so she's helping to buff up your Seer. And then her passive is just placing petrification when they get hit. She also has poisons on her A1, which is incredibly useful. Dark Kale is another free-to-play champion that everybody should be able to get. Honestly, all of these champions are free-to-play friendly. You could debate except these two, but at the end of the day, they are epic. They are epic voids, so they're a lot more attainable than a void legendary. Dark Kale, he's coming in for his poisons on the A3, and then he's coming in for his decreased attack and debuff extension on the A2. Lydia, of course, increased speed and strengthen, as well as a decreased defense and a weaken on her A2, which is very nice. And then finally Seer, just to absolutely nuke the enemy team. So basically the way this works is you're going to have somebody go first to place the hex. I'll start the run and I'll show you now, but you have somebody place a hex, then you place poisons on the main spider. When the spider takes the turn, that's going to detonate all the poisons because of Akemtum's passive onto the spiderlings. They're all going to die, which then absolutely demolishes the max HP of your spider, because I think they're taking 5% max HP per spiderling that dies. And then Seer comes in, does some additional nuking, all that sort of good stuff. Seer could technically be replaced by a champion that does just absolutely smack. So if you have some sort of an AoE champion like Necrizia, or Acrixia, however you say her name, let me show you here. So you could easily replace her with somebody like this, you know, the Void Legendary, that's very attainable, very free-to-play friendly. You could also replace her with somebody like a Royal Guard for his A2. You could also replace her with a Husk, wherever he might be, right here for his A2, another max HP skill. You technically could replace her for just any sort of a hard-hitting nuke champion like an Eric's if you have her from the daily logins. Anybody who can do AoEs and do a lot of damage. My Seer definitely isn't built the best, but she's still enough to absolutely just nuke. Here are the Masteries, so she's coming down to, I forget what this one's called. This one's called Flawless Execution, so it's just increasing her crit damage just for consistency. You could easily go for Helm Smasher if you have enough crit damage on her. These are going to be her stats. She's rocking at only 220 speed. Again, nothing crazy on this particular champion. This is going to be the stats on my Lydia. A very tanky champion, especially considering how fast she is. These are going to be her Masteries, so she's built out for the arena. Nothing specific to this dungeon. These are going to be the Masteries of my Mithrala as well. And then these are the Masteries of my Dark Kale, who's coming down to Giant Slayer. If you can't see that because of my face in the way, there you go. I am recording this after having recorded the rest of the video. I did forget to mention there is actually a team setup associated with this as well. So Akemtum, essentially, he's just going to open with his A1 as opposed to the A2. Dark Kale is going to priority on his A3. Seer is going to priority on her A2, or sorry, A3, but she is going to open with the A2. Lydia opens with the A2, no use of the A3 here, and then Mithrala is going to open with the A1. So essentially, Mithrala goes just after Akemtum. If you wanted to really min-max this, you'd probably put Mithrala going before Akemtum, because then she's going to hex everybody. Then he'll come in and put the poisons on and spread those to everybody else. So I might actually end up doing that myself. I'm sure I can probably glyph some extra speed into her. But this is the setup. This is important to it as well. Otherwise, it's probably going to be a bit inconsistent just because the AI in the game is a little bit silly. I just want to say that I'm probably going to do a video on this as well, but Akemtum can absolutely carry you in the city of Centranos as well with his poison duplication. You can easily run him as a duo with somebody like a Tomb Lord and just smash through bosses. You can smash through regular wave content. He can help you out in Doom Tower. Akemtum is so incredibly useful. I hope this video helps you guys out. Thank you so much for watching. I'm on the push to 1,000 subscribers. I am so close, and I appreciate all the support and the love you guys have been giving. I'll see you next time.